Welcome to Callouts with Moon and UpTop, your podcast about all things Call of Duty, Rust, Halo, and much more. Streaming wherever podcasts are available and on YouTube.com. Now, here are your hosts, UpTop and Midnight Moon.
We are excited. It is episode number 1 of Callouts with Moon and UpTop. We are so happy you're here listening wherever you may be listening from. Any podcast source will do, but we are very happy that you're here. Of course, I am UpTop.
Yes.
And joined, of course, by the awesome co-host, partner, friend. I guess we could say friend now. We're getting to that.
Oh, you're too nice.
That friendship area, I think. This is Moon. Moon, welcome in. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good. Thank you. I'm so happy that we have this opportunity to do this. I'm super stoked about it.
It's episode number 1. I mean, this is it. We're gonna look back on this
deal.
in like episode. As long as we keep going, we make it to episode 50 and 100, and we look back and be like, oh man, we were so young then. We were so new at this point, but yeah, this is great. And Moon, I kind of want to start. I know we're going to talk about Call of Duty throughout this podcast and throughout our journey. We've got some really cool stuff coming up over the next month that we'll talk about maybe a little bit toward the end of the show. But I feel like we would be remiss if we didn't talk about just kind of our journey here, right? I mean, it's Call of Duty, it's Black Ops 6, but I know, like, for me, I'm not, and I won't tell all of my stuff here, but like for me, I remember playing the original Call of Duty before there was online play, before there was any kind of like talking trash to people from different places. None of that stuff existed when I played the initial Call of Duty. But just tell us a little bit about, and it doesn't have to be Call of Duty, but just a little bit about your gaming experience, kind of where it started and kind of to where you are now.
So I also played Call of Duty way back in the day. I think on the original Xbox, and the game is a totally different game nowadays. I have a love for video games, so I grew up with 4 boys, my brothers. They were into video games, so I kind of like followed suit. I mean, we would even stay home from school just to play video games.
Mm-hmm.
So fast forward to now, I started streaming a couple years ago, got out of that. Now I'm just doing some content on YouTube and dabbling in many games. And then I met you, and here we are.
And it's kind of funny because we met we met through a mutual friend who we both play with, who's going to be on the show at some point, I'm sure. But it's just kind of funny how, and Call of Duty's good at this. I feel like there's a lot of things at Call of Duty, and we're going to talk about Verdansk specifically in this episode. But just to veer off from that, like, Call of Duty does a really cool thing with just introducing people to each other, like that you would never probably meet outside of this type of, unity, I guess you could say. Atmosphere, right? Yeah. Like I probably would have never met you, or talked with you. I probably would have never met Mandy or James or Queen, a bunch of other people that I play with, and it's awesome that we have just seen how there are good things about Call of Duty. I feel like it gets so much flack about how bad it is, and it is. And I think
it's not all toxic.
It's not all toxic. That is a great point. And but to your point, I too remember playing, on the original Xbox, going through Call of Duty, playing Halo, that kind of stuff. Like I loved Halo and Halo 2. Those are 2 of my favorite games. And really, Halo was kind of the one, in my opinion, that really kind of started this whole, online journey, if you will, of being able to play with people from different places and eventually different systems and things like that. But, I think for me, it's amazing to hear, that you're so excited about this. I am too. I am amped about this. I think this is going to be something really cool down the line. And we hope to have your support for those of you listening. Even if it's just listening to an episode, that helps. Every little bit of it helps for sure. So I appreciate you all.
Listen, I wanted to ask you. So
Sure.
the reason why I'm so excited about this is because I've heard some um, different opinions out in the community. You know, Call of Duty's dead, and hopefully Verdansk like brings it back. And I don't really see, but I also didn't play consistently. So I played Modern Warfare 2, and then I took a break. And then when Black Ops came out, Black Ops 6, then I started playing again. So I haven't seen the shift. I feel like it's still kind of the same. You know what I mean? So what's your
Yeah.
opinion on that? Because I've gotten some mixture like from friends and people that I played with that they think this was like their last hurrah to try to save COD.
Mhm.
And
I
wanted
will
to
I
ask you
will
that.
tell you for a fact that, and we're going to talk about Verdansk, and I will tell you Verdansk may have saved Call of Duty Black Ops 6 and Warzone entirely. Now I
That's a
will
huge thing.
it is a huge thing because and that's the thing, like it should have never gotten to this point though. Like that's the frustrating part of Call of Duty is that listen, when you look back on Modern Warfare 3, you go through the game and you're just like, all right, there's this that you don't like about it, there's that you don't like about it, but there's a lot to love about Modern Warfare 3. Even still, I still see streamers and a lot of people who are just very they've got the follows and the subscribers and they still play Modern Warfare 3. Like it's wild to me. And I sat there and I said, okay, when Black Ops 6 comes out, I'm probably not going to play Modern Warfare 3 as much, and that is true. It has happened that way. But man, when Black Ops 6 launched, there was just so much going on that was just negative. It was negative everywhere. And I try to look at gaming from a perspective of I don't want to see the negativity in everything that I'm doing. But when you play it as often as we do, you start to see it. It's like, okay, the TTK is bad, right? And then they try to fix it, and then it ends up getting worse. I will tell you the worst part of Call of Duty, they have, and this is a new development, by the way, and I don't know if you've seen this, but they have an emote at the end of the game now where you can do like a little fishing reel middle finger. Have you seen that yet?
Yes,
It,
I
it,
have seen it.
so you're telling me that you can do that, but you get chat banned for nothing. Like
I
that, I
know.
I am blown away by that.
Oh,
And
and even like the the game itself, like the what is it called? What's the word I'm looking for? When he's like, what the hell's going on? Or what are you doing? What is
yeah,
it? Like the ah, when you're in the game and it's the
yeah, the
voices. Oh my
voiceover,
God,
right?
I sound like an idiot. Edit that out. Edit
No,
that
you're
out.
good. I'm leaving that right
Oh
in there.
no, no. I mean,
Yeah,
even the game itself swears
it
like
does.
at you. Like, what are you doing? What the hell are you doing?
Yep.
Get your head out of your ass, or whatever it says. I can't remember the specifics, but I think of that and I'm just like, but yeah, I swear or I get upset, then we're chat banned.
Yeah. And as somebody who just got off a 14-day ban for nothing, literally nothing, I was muted. Like, and that's the thing. Like, I
That's
love,
crazy.
and we're gonna talk about this, I'm sure, in a future episode. So I don't want to like dive too much into it, but ever since I switched to PC, my life has been a lot less stressful. And it's not because of the fact that, and like I could mute myself on console, but now I have to actively like put my controller, like I have to actively press Z on my keyboard in order to talk to someone. Like I can talk all the crap I want, no one can hear me. Because it's gotten to that point where it's just like, don't say anything because you never know. If a team spam reports you, you're done. Like it doesn't matter if you did right or wrong. It's done, and that's been my real big complaint about Call of Duty, and I'm not the only one, by the way, who is stating that. You yourself have also stated that, and there are
Mhm.
many, many, many others that I'm sure we could point to and be like, yeah, they've said the same thing. So it
Well, what are the
eventually,
trigger words? Because I also heard that they use like an AI technology to kind of, go through
well,
and
I don't know if we could say the trigger word, trigger
well, no,
words
no, I know. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah. No, three
But
minutes, 3 minutes. I'm just like,
well, we're past the 3 minute mark, which is great. But you're talking about that,
but
like you're not gonna get
no,
messed up
because,
for saying
well,
the
hear me
F
out,
word.
hear me out. No, 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 because hear me out. I'm telling you, so our mutual friend, Mandy Moon, She said something, which I know I'm sure I could say, that she wanted to diddy somebody, which is, as everyone knows, you take them hostage and you kind of make fun and taunt the other player. She did that. She just said she wanted to do it. She didn't even do it. And she was voice chat banned for 14 days, I think. I had another friend, another party, said the exact same thing. Didn't get voice chat banned. So
Mm,
it's like, hmm. And Mandy wasn't heard by the other team because she hadn't done that. It was her team. You know what I
right.
mean? So I'm just like, what technology are they using? What are they like? What filters are they using to warrant someone being voice chat banned or not? It's just so silly to me. Like some people can get away with it and others can't.
Yeah, it is very concerning, and I think if you're going to rate a game, and this is the other side of this. If you're going to rate the game M for mature, like what you're getting into. Like when somebody goes off and they start saying a bunch of racial stuff, like okay, I can
Well, for
I
sure.
get that. Like there's a line that even in gaming that you just don't cross, and I know a lot of people disagree with that. But I'm very much of the opinion like there's a line that you don't cross that line. But most of the time, and I would say probably 3/4 of the time, people are getting chat banned for just like what you were explaining, like for nothing. And it's become a
Hmm.
problem. I know that people have brought this up again, and I'm sure we could do a whole episode on chat banning, but it's one of those things where I really truly feel like that Activision and Treyarch have no idea how to handle it. And so now they're just like, okay, well we're just gonna handle it this way. If they say this word,
Just
it's done.
ban everybody.
Yeah, that's it because it's better to ask forgiveness than permission, right? I mean
Right.
that's really what it boils down to. But let's talk about Verdansk because this and you brought up this question and I kind of didn't answer it. I just realized that, but
Okay.
Verdansk, I think I made the statement Verdansk may have saved Call of Duty, and I still stand by that statement. I think that they needed something to come in to this game and save it from being one of, if not the worst Call of Duty that's been released to this point. Now, I don't agree with that. I don't think Black Ops 6 is a bad game at all. And I know we've kind of been like crapping on Call of Duty for the last 5 minutes, but I actually think the game has really made a lot of great improvements. I will tell you, Omni Movement, and there are some who disagree with this, but I think Omni Movement's the greatest thing they've ever made in Call of Duty. I really do. I love them. When you go back and play Modern Warfare 3 or Modern Warfare 2 or Call of Duty Black Ops 4, any of those really good games, you just realize, oh my gosh, Omni Movement is great. And there's a lot of really good stuff to it. But I think they still needed something, and Verdansk, I think, was it. I think it was one of those things that, it was, I believe it was a Black Ops 2 map. They honestly probably should have had Verdansk come out a lot sooner than it did. Um, but I absolutely love, and I know people who are just strictly search and destroy streamers or team deathmatch streamers or whatever, and some of them will play Rebirth. But I have seen those same streamers literally playing Warzone 24/7 now because it's that
Okay.
good.
I need to admit something. So,
Okay.
do I agree that it saved COD? I don't know. However, I do believe that it saved like Warzone specifically because I wouldn't even touch that. I was literally a search and destroy. That's all I wanted to play. I tried doing the whole Warzone with some friends and I'm like, this is trash. Like I don't like it. It's very like laggy. I don't know, glitchy, you know what I mean? But then when Verdansk came out, I was like, okay, I'll give it a try, you know?
Right.
I just want it's something new. I love it. I
Yeah.
love the map. I love the smoothness. I don't really see a difference like tremendously, but also I haven't played Modern Warfare 2 in a long time for movement,
Mhm.
but I do like how clean it is. It looks beautiful. It feels better
It does, and
than
that's
in comparison to the old like you know what I mean like the map before.
well. Let me ask you this in kind of a response to that. Did you play Warzone at all in Modern Warfare 3? Like, was
No,
that
I
some?
didn't.
No. See, that's the thing. I played Rebirth Island, but Rebirth Island, I still feel like is a good map. I know a lot of people may disagree with that, but I still feel like even today Rebirth Island is a good map. But
No. I disagree.
Well, see, and that's what I'm saying. Like, there are people out there who disagree with it, and that's fine. You're completely okay to have your own
I
opinion.
feel like I'm
Unlike,
playing Fortnite. Like we all just keep respawning in.
well,
Why?
That's what Warzone
I
is.
know, but
I mean, Warzone is just
yeah,
Fortnite for Call of Duty.
no. Yeah, I
I mean,
guess. I guess, but
when you look at the grand scheme of it, and if you play Fortnite, like you see a lot of similarities between the two. I mean, you're picking up shields, you're picking up plates, you're picking up guns, you're picking up guns. I mean, it's you're trying to be the last man or woman standing. So, I mean, a lot of it is very similar. However, I feel like Call of Duty as a whole, and I know you said you kind of disagree with it saving Call of Duty. You got to think where Call of Duty was before Verdansk came out. They had issues with Warzone right from the get go. Like day one when Warzone came out, it was awful, and it was so bad that they actually had to take Warzone out and completely redo it. Like that was terrible, and so they needed to hit. And by they, I mean Call of Duty, Activision, Treyarch. Like, they had to hit a home run, and I feel like they've done that. They've gotten players who were just simply Warzone players to actually buy this game because Warzone's free. You can play Warzone without buying it. But they actually made Verdansk so good that people have sales have actually gone up for Call of Duty Black Ops 6 because of the success of Verdansk. That's what I'm saying with Verdansk saved Call of Duty. Because you can easily just go in and play Warzone and have a great time. And I know there's a lot of people who do that. But I think the success of this map, at least to this point, has made people really like Call of Duty Black Ops 6 and be like, okay, I can overlook, the bad things about Call of Duty because of the success of Verdansk. That's really where I'm coming from a mentality standpoint. And you can't argue with the numbers, like the sales, things like that. But so let me ask you, as someone who, and obviously you mentioned it, being a search and destroy, girl or woman, whatever. What is the good, the bad, the ugly of Verdansk? Like you played it, you got to experience it. Give me some stuff that you really liked about it, and maybe some things you haven't. If you can
I
recall.
don't have any complaints. I know that we had talked prior to going live about, people complaining about like what is it, the plates.
Oh yes, the
I think
plates.
I haven't seen, a difference in that. I have no complaints. The weapons, I feel like the kilo, I feel is better for Warzone than it is search and destroy. So I feel like it's a pro. You know what I mean? I don't know. I love it. I have no complaints. I would like to hear your complaints because I have none.
I will say my complaints are very limited, but the one big complaint that I have, it kind of it's a double-edged sword, right? So Verdansk is awesome. I love it. I think there's a lot of issues with the lack of respawn, but that's Warzone, right? And it makes winning more important, right? So when you have lack of respawn, it makes winning better. And I will say that the biggest issue that I have with Verdansk right now, and this is so we're about a month or so into, a little bit more than a month into it by the time this releases, and it still hasn't been fixed, by the way. I feel like the time to kill is probably the worst part of Verdansk and Warzone right now. And that kind of but you look at it and you go, okay, well it sucks, yes. But then you look at the positioning that you have to have and how you're kind of, I wouldn't say rewarded per se, I don't think that's the right word, but you get a better grasp of the map when you make good decisions. Right? Like it's honestly something that you can look at it and go, okay, time to kill is terrible. And I think that boils down to the guns, right? Like the kilo. And for some reason, the HDR, which I'm not going to lie to you, I snipe. You know that. Like I'm a big sniper fan. And that's mainly because of PC. I feel like I get more forgiveness with sniping, especially when we're playing Respawn, Team Deathmatch, even Search and Destroy to a degree. But in Warzone, I don't snipe as much because the only sniper that's worth anything is the HDR. And I'm sorry, I watch people all the time who hits all these shots with HDRs, and I'm like, how are you hitting these shots? Because when I hit it, it's a freaking hit marker. It's like,
Yeah,
and I know
I've noticed that.
I'm not as good as probably most people who are streaming, but it's a frustrating part of, okay, so obviously I'm a sniper guy, but in Warzone I really don't do it. But I will tell you, and we're gonna announce this at the end, so I don't want to get too into it. But if you have not used the Kilo's a good gun, but if you have not used the SWAT on this map, the SWAT 556 on this map
Oh,
with the conversion
yes, I
kit,
do love that. Yes,
that
yes.
junk is insane. It is so good. Very, very good loadout. But there's a few of them. I mean, you can use the SWAT. You can always go to the Kilo. There's a good loadout for the AMAX, which I really have grown to like over the last few weeks. The AMAX it's a CR56 AMAX is a great loadout. You can use that really well for long range. And if you do like sniping, you can get the Frost in there as your loadout. But I know a lot of people are really loving the HDR, and I get that. But it's just such a hit marker machine to me, and I don't
It
particularly
isn't
care for it.
reliable. It isn't reliable. But I don't, correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe it's just me. But when I play Search and then when I go to Warzone, the guns feel different for both.
It
Like,
does.
I wouldn't
It
pick,
does.
I would pick up what is it called? The HDR? I can't
Yeah.
remember. Is that
Yeah,
what
the
the
HDR.
sniper's called?
Uh-huh.
The new one?
Yeah. The HDR.
Okay. Okay, so the HDR I would not use in search. I got hit markers, but if I use it in Warzone, I seem to have a little more, it's more reliable. And then also the kilo, it feels different in Warzone.
It
So I
does.
don't know. I don't know. Like, I do know that the Jackal is complete junk now. I mean, that's just my personal
Well, and that was
opinion.
a
And that was
part
my
of
favorite.
yeah, that was a part of the nerf that they did before season 3 came out. And I said it too, and myself and our friend James, like I was playing with him the night before, and I said, "Man, have you read the patch notes for this new update?" And he's like, "No, I haven't." I said, "Man, I'm gonna tell you, people, and that Jackal is, and it's still in the game, and it's still a decent gun, but I will tell you." When they did the season 3 update, when Verdansk came out and all that other stuff, I said, "Watch, the Jackal is going to become less and less of a weapon that you're going to get killed by," and it's proven. Like people, I
That's
have
for
been killed
sure.
more by the Kilo over the last few weeks than I care to admit. It's a good gun, and they did a lot of updates to that gun that I think caught a lot of people by surprise. I was not expecting, I guess, as big of a of a nerf as they ended up doing to it, but yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, the Jackal was a I mean, it was a beam, and you could just get
It
away
was
with a
my
lot.
favorite. Now, my favorite for like search is the Cypher. I don't know what it is, but I've just been shitting on kids
Kind of get
with that
killed by
gun
that.
lately. That's my go-to where it used to be the Jackal. To be honest, I don't think they touched the Cypher. Do you know if they
I
touched it
I
in
don't
the
from what
patch
I have
notes?
yeah from what I have seen on the patch notes. I have not seen anything that shows the cipher getting buffed, and I'm even looking through the patch notes, which you can see CallofDuty.com/patch notes in case you ever want to see
Yeah,
it.
because
It shows all the guns that they touch, and from everything that I'm seeing, I know they touched the Jackal, the Tanto, the Compact, which I really liked. That was a gun that I was really kind of disappointed that they nerfed a little bit. Um, but I
well, I
will.
only ask because somebody had mentioned to me that they thought it was going to be completely taken out,
Yeah, it was
the
not.
Cypher.
Yeah, it was not. No, there was nothing to that. Um, I
Okay,
will
good.
tell you, and I know we're gonna do this, and I'm kind of waiting to announce what we're gonna do for the next episode. So I won't get into it, but I will tell you this: there is a gun that if you do play Warzone, you should absolutely consider using, and it will help you a lot. It is not probably as good as the HDR. It is a marksman rifle. It's the DM10. If you have not used the DM10, that is a gun that I have seen a lot of people start to use more and more. The damage range has gone up. It was at 50 pre-patch. It is now at 65 for damage, which is a huge jump. Yeah, the rate of fire, it went from 300 RPM to 333, and the flinch in that, because again, it's a marksman rifle, so it's similar to a sniper. You got to look down scope. The flinch was actually reduced by 20%. So, I mean, if you're looking at a gun that you can get good range on, from max damage range, you're looking at like 0 to, I think, 25 millimeter or 25 meters is probably a good number. I've used it a few times in Warzone, and it has been extremely successful. So that's a gun that, if you're kind of on the fence about using the HDR, I mean, it's definitely a good gun to use on the side, on that part. But so as far as Verdansk goes, and I'll ask you. I mean, you're not, and I would say you're not, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I would say you're more of kind of like how I am. We're not Warzone players, right? We play Warzone, we enjoy it, but we don't log into Call of Duty to jump onto Warzone. Is that a fair analysis?
Yeah, that's fair.
So what is it about Verdansk? I think in the main question, and this is really for people who, go into this kind of like we are, right? And I think there's a lot of people that are just strictly Warzone. I really believe that, who don't really care for multiplayer. And I don't know why that is. I think multiplayer is the highlight of Call of Duty, and I know there are people out there who go, no, it's actually Warzone is the highlight. But what's the difference for you? I mean, what's the difference between, obviously Warzone doesn't have as many opportunities, unless you survive the gulag, if you will. But I'm curious, what's the difference for you? Like, what works with Warzone, and what works with multiplayer? Like, what's the difference for you between the two?
I don't really know, just because I do love the Warzone with the well, I say new map, but it's new to me because I didn't play it originally.
Right.
So it's exciting, it's new, I want to like discover everything, and just I don't know, it's huge. Like I feel so lost, and I like that. Where the old map, though, like I said before, it was just so laggy and so glitchy. And with Warzone 2, you can only have so many people play. It's 4.
Right.
Where Search and Destroy, you can have more. And I feel like our parties get so big sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So I just prefer that. Plus, I feel like the trash talking, because I do like to trash talk, is a little more intimate with Search and Destroy. Like, versus, you die and then you go to the gulag and you might not see that person again, where every round in Search, you're going to see that person again in between rounds, where you can like trash talk again. So I really like that component to it. But yeah, I do like Warzone as of to date, more so than, before the season change and all the updates and things. Because I hated Warzone. My friends would ask me prior to this map coming out, come play Warzone. And I'm like, oh, hell no. I'm going. And they're like, oh, well, Moon's headed out. And I'm like, yep. And now I'll play. Like, I actually enjoy it. So
you brought up something about the old maps that I think is worth mentioning. The server issues and performance issues. I think that is probably the biggest reason why people have really enjoyed Verdansk and Warzone to this point. There's really nothing. I mean, even if you look out there, there's a few little hiccups. I know there was a bug that was resetting people's custom loadouts, but Raven Software was working on that. So that was a bug at one point. There were a few other things, and I'm just kind of looking through some of my notes, here. But there wasn't much. And I'll tell you the biggest difference between this map and anything really that Call of Duty or Warzone specifically has released lately. It has its problems, but people still are loving it. Like, that's the biggest difference. Like, when you go to some of these maps, right? And we play maps all the time in multiplayer, for instance, right? We all have our maps that we love, right? And I'm sure your maps that you love, and I've heard it, are completely different than the maps I love. And
Yeah.
that's the difference. Is I feel like this is a Warzone map that I have not heard many. In fact, personally, I have not heard anyone say I don't like Verdansk. I have heard so many people be very happy with this map and with the way it's gone so far. That is
So
a
would
huge thing for Call of Duty and Warzone.
so your assessment is, do you think that it's saving COD?
I think that it has. There was a lot. I feel like, and even myself, like when I was waiting for this game to come out, I was so ready for this game because Modern Warfare 3, like it was great, and I still love Modern Warfare 3. I still think it holds up. But with the Omni movement, the way that they marketed this game, the way that they said this is going to be a completely different experience than you've had before, they really, Activision, Warzone, like Warzone not included really, but the way Activision kind of built this up and the way Call of Duty built this up, like this was going to be, they wanted this to be the greatest Call of Duty Black Ops game or greatest Call of Duty game, period. And I feel like, to be honest with you, Moon, they missed the boat. Like when this game first came out, I think a lot of people had very high expectations, and I feel like those expectations were not met. And it's not fair to Call of Duty that the expectations were not met. But then again, they had all this time to fix it, and it
Right.
still was just kind of, it wasn't good. Like, so as far as Warzone and Verdansk goes, they needed to hit a home run with this map, and I feel like they've done that. So if you're
Oh,
saying it saved COD, I think it has. I really do.
yeah. Oh, to go back to your question, because I was sitting here thinking, like, do I have any complaints?
Yeah.
I don't know if they fixed it, but I do know when the map came out, I was playing really heavy for Dansk, and I noticed that, and I think Mandy had the same issue. She was still here. We could ask her, where I wasn't able to choose my loadout like at all, and it
Oh,
was
it
because
still
I
happens.
played the Warzone. Because when I went to BO6, I couldn't get my loadout. But then when I went back to Warzone, I had to go a whole day without being able to choose my loadout. Like I was just getting some random ass gun, you know? And I couldn't like I didn't have any of my what are they called? I was gonna say skins, but I'm thinking of
Right.
Fortnite.
Yeah.
Um my
See?
camos. I had none of my camos, none of my attachments, nothing. It was so frustrating. I haven't played in a few days, and it was partly because of that, because it happened again to me, and I was like, you know what? I love this. I love the map. I love Warzone, but I'm just sick of like, the glitchiness with it. But I'm understanding because it's new, so it's not deterring me from like wanting to play it. That's
Yeah.
probably my only complaint.
Okay, that
Um,
that makes sense, and I can appreciate that.
yeah.
And I will tell you, Modern Warzone on Twitter is a great page. If you don't follow them, please do. And they're not affiliated with the show at all, but they do a lot of really good stuff. So it's Modern Warzone on Twitter. So make sure if you go check them out, they're a great source for a lot of things. They actually did a vote on Twitter. 13,093 votes were cast. And the question is the Verdansk update the greatest Warzone of all time? And 77% said yes, it's the GOAT. It's the greatest Warzone update of all time, period. And that's huge. Like, when is the last time you've seen something that overwhelming? Granted, there was still 23% who said no, it's not the greatest, which I'd love to get their opinion on why they don't think so.
Right.
But you look at comments like all throughout. Like there's one comment on that, on that that post and said I'm a huge hater of COD the last few years, especially the DEIBS. But I did jump back on after a couple of years, and it felt great. There were other ones, such a big win for the game. The TTK I'm undecided on, though. Too quick or fair. See, that's kind of going back to what we talked about with the time to kill. I think it's something that they're still going to work on and they're going to fix. You know, there is one other issue, and I did not realize this actually until I played the game recently, and I don't know if you've seen this yet, but there are still buildings that you cannot enter in Verdansk. Did you know that?
Yeah, and I did hear people complain about that because they were under the impression that they would be able to.
Yeah, so I don't know what the deal with that is. That's kind of weird to put a building in the game, and I'm sure over the next few months they'll go through and try to figure some of those bugs out.
What buildings specifically have you heard? Because I heard, is it the Dome?
The Dome is one, which
Yep.
I'm kind of honestly shocked as big as that map is, or
Yeah.
as big as the Dome is, I should say. For them not to be able to have access to the inside of it's kind of wild to me.
That's crazy.
I feel like it
That
would be so
exciting.
much.
Imagine.
It would be fun. Yeah, like what they need to do. And again, they don't listen to me or anything I say. Of course, my opinion's invalid. But what they should do is they should open it up, kind of make it look. And I'm sure it kind of reminds me of Red Card on the inside, which I hate Red Card. But I'm sure that's kind of how it's going to look if they do open it up. But what they should do is they should have the dome, and if you get to the top, which you can do with a helicopter or whatever else, then there should be a way for you to be able to drop down inside of the dome from the ceiling.
Yeah, for sure.
Very, very, probably a lot that would have to go into that, but I'm a little surprised by that not being open. At least at the time of this recording, it is unavailable. We'll see what happens later on down the line. But all right, so we'll finish out the show. We do have a big announcement that we're going to get to in just a second, but to end our show here, I would like for you, and I'm putting you on the spot here, but I would like for you
Oh God.
to give me your rating of Verdansk. So you have, let's go 1 to 10. 1 being the worst thing you've ever seen, and 10 being overwhelmingly like you'd have to hit everything perfectly in order to get a 10. What do you rate Verdansk on a scale of 1 to 10?
Okay, well, I want to be fair and take into consideration the lack of plates that you had mentioned. I haven't had that experience.
I have. It
But
sucks.
I'll take into consideration that. And now that you pointed out about the buildings, like that doesn't make sense. Like, what the heck? And then my little glitch problem, to be fair, I would rate it at 8.5. If they
That's
could
fair.
fix like even just the glitching, the problem that I had with my loadout, and open up these buildings for more like gameplay, that would be so cool. Like, I would totally give it a 10. What's your rating?
So, boy, this is tough. Because, when I was going through the notes for this, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to ask this question, I had a number in my head. But then we started talking about stuff, and I'm like, man, you're right. That is kind of good, or that is kind of bad. And I want to give it a number that's fair, but also leaves room for improvement. Because
Right.
Verdansk is a great map. It really is. It checks a lot of the boxes. I think the person who commented and said, hey, this is the best Call of Duty map that they've had in Warzone for a long time, I don't disagree with that statement. I really don't. I think it's better than Rebirth. It's better than really anything that they've come out with recently. As
So wait a
somebody who...
second.
Yeah, go ahead.
So is it, because I've heard people complain, many people that I've played with, that, the old war zones and then like all the problems, the glitchiness, the promises, is it the nostalgia that people are so hyped about? Or is it
Yeah.
a good solid actual like map? Or is it because we've been hand-fed crap for so long? And I say we, I didn't play. So let me correct. That you guys were given crap for so long that they're just giving you something a little, it's like sprinkled with sugar, like here you go,
Yeah.
but it's still shit. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to be fair. Like, I don't know, because I didn't get to play the first time it was around.
I get that, and I think there is some nostalgia to it. Like if you're in Black Ops 2, you've seen this map, this map. But I also think the nostalgia doesn't ruin the overall experience, because if you look at Black Ops 2's Verdansk, you could say, wow, they've really improved on this. And I feel like they have to a degree. But man, that's an interesting thought. You know, do I really like this map just because of how bad things have been, or do I really like this map because it's a great map? And I tend to lean to the latter. It's a good map. Is there room for improvement? Absolutely. Is there a little nostalgia in there? Absolutely, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think Call of Duty has shown over the past few years that they're not afraid to bring out nostalgia acts to try to win you over, right? They did it with Grind, which I think failed miserably, just for the record. I hate that map. And you know, that was one map. I know they just brought back recently Firing Range and Barrage. I think Firing Range is better than Barrage, but I still think that they're both kind of iffy maps in itself in multiplayer. And again, it's hard to compare multiplayer maps to Warzone because of just the overall scope of everything. But my rating for this out of 10, I think just because there's still stuff that they could do to improve it, but I think it's hitting a lot of the boxes for me. I'm probably going to go a 9. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. And the only reason I don't give it a 10, to be honest with you, is because I still think the TTK is really bad. And because there's still, at least at the time of this recording, there is not a whole lot of access to buildings that are in the map. I mean, if it's going to be in the map, it needs to be accessible. I get maybe why they haven't done it yet, and I'm hopeful that with updates that will change. And we can come back and talk about it and be like, hey, they fixed this. This is great. But I think if you're looking for a Warzone map that, to be honest with you, may have saved this game as a whole, I don't think you can miss with Verdansk. I really don't. I'm giving them a 9. It's probably a little more generous. I probably should be a little bit more back on that. But as someone who has devoted his life to Call of Duty over the past 3 years, this map hits a home run for me. It really does. It checks every box, and that's the important thing, right? That's what you want out of a gaming experience. You want to check every box that you can possibly check. So I'll give it a 9. It was probably a little bit more generous, but
higher. That's higher than mine, and I feel like I play more than you.
I mean, do you though? I mean, we could compare hours. You know, now granted, I did switch to PC, so my hours are probably not as high as yours.
Right.
But even on PS5, like I've been playing this since beta. I was playing launch. I mean, I've been immersed in this Call of Duty experience since I mean forever. Like it's been a long time. I remember when Modern Warfare 3 came out, I was all over that. I was all over the beta, all over that game. Really I fell back in love with Call of Duty because of Modern Warfare 3. And it's still, to my opinion, I still don't think it's the best Call of Duty. Black Ops 6 included in that. And we could talk about that, what the best Call of Duty game is, period, down the line. We don't have to do that here because we're not going to be on very much longer. And we do still have to make our big announcement, by the way. Are you ready for this big announcement?
Yeah.
Are you sure? You sound kind of unsure about
What
it.
announcement? No, I don't remember. What big announcement are we doing?
Okay, so next week, on next week's episode, you know how they have the NCAA basketball? It's called March Madness. Well,
Oh, yes.
we are doing what's called May Madness. And May Madness is going to pit guns against guns. So we are going to set up a bracket, and in that bracket, we are going to have all the guns in Call of Duty, and we are going to allow you, the listeners, to go online to our Twitter page, wherever, Instagram, wherever we're at, and you will get to vote on your favorite gun. And we will see which gun is the last one standing. So that is going to be something pretty sweet. We're going to start that next week. So make sure you're checking us out on all the socials. And we will share those out, of course, along with this recording. I'm very excited about that. Real quick, do you have a favorite? I know you said you really like the Kilo. And you were using the Jackal for a long time, but is there a gun that you just absolutely love to use in any situation, no matter what?
Yep, my Cypher.
The Cypher.
Absolutely, the Cypher.
Yeah,
It just hits different.
It does, and it kills different too, by the way, because I've been killed many a time by that gun.
I just
Uh,
love the sound of that headshot, and I just
mhm.
get it more frequently with my cipher. It's so satisfying.
It is. Is that something I think Call of Duty does really well, and I feel like they've done that in this game too. Just the sound effects of hitting someone. Man, when you hit someone with a quick scope on a sniper, I argue there's nothing better.
Right.
It sounds better. It sounds pleasing, and also just killing somebody with a quick scope is just there's nothing better in my opinion. If you're not a sniper, you
I'm not
should
a
be.
sniper.
You should
Yeah,
be.
I
It's
don't.
fun.
I
It is so
know.
much fun.
I need to use it more.
Absolutely. Well, we're getting ready for next week. We're going to start May Madness, and we'll have the bracket up. Once the show is out, we will go online and start putting our guns out there for people to vote on. We'll probably have to do that on Twitter, but we can maybe find another way to do it. But usually X, you can kind of vote on things as they come, so that's a little bit easier to do. And then just to kind of give you a preview, coming attractions, episode 3, we are going to have another guest join us. Not going to tell you who yet, but we're going to have another guest join us, and we're going to talk about women of COD and what it's like to be a woman
Ooh,
on this game.
I'm excited for that one.
That's going to be a good one. I'm very excited for that one. And then we'll wrap up the month with a very interesting episode. We're going to talk about cheating and bots and kind of that whole process. I got some opinions on bots that I'd like to share, but we're going to have a guest with us, I think, on that show as well, who has either utilized cheating in the past or been a part of it. Who's going to come on and share
Right.
some of their experiences with us. So we're very excited for that episode. That's going to be a good one. I'm very interested to get inside the mind of someone who has
Of a cheater.
actively cheated on on the Call of Duty or gaming in general like that. So Moon, any final thoughts? Anything you'd like to drop before we get up out of here?
No, I'm really excited for this and just looking forward to the Women of COD episode because I have a lot to say on that.
Well, we can't skip. We can't skip next week. We gotta we
Damn.
gotta keep the course. We gotta go episode 2. But I think
I
episode 2 is
know.
going to be good. And this is my challenge for you. I want you to come up with some loadouts that you really like for season 3, and let's talk
Okay.
about them. Let's compare loadouts. But then we're going to start going through our bracket, and we're going to talk about some of the matchups. I think that's going to be a lot of fun too. We'll get to see guns that will go against each other. There'll be snipers. There'll be pistols. There'll be a bunch of stuff. I know a lot of people who love pistols. You want to talk about something that misses the mark for me for Black Ops 6? It's pistols. I was very disappointed about the pistols in this game thus far. Hopefully, updates will change my mind down the line, but pistols were way better in Modern Warfare 3. But we'll talk more about that next week as well. Well, Moon, you are awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, you too. Thank you. No,
Fantastic.
thank you
Yes,
for
ma'am.
having me.
No, you're here. What you mean having you?
Well,
You're
I
here.
mean, not having
You're
me, but
here.
like,
This is
yes, but asking me because you asked me to do this with you, and I'm so
yes.
thankful. And to be positive about next week, it's going to be a learning experience for me. I just have my go-to guns. I don't really care about my loadout. I usually ask the guys that are in the party, hey, what's a great loadout? Help me. And they just give it to me. So
Yeah.
for me to have this assignment, it's it's going to be a learning experience.
Well,
I'm going to be a little more independent when it comes to my selection of guns and
and
attachments.
you know what I think we should do personally, and this is kind of throwing you out there here. I'd like to see you play with some of these. Like let's record some of that, right? Trying out some of these
Okay.
attachments and things like that. I think that'd be good content. Something for people to see. But we can do that after we
Right.
talk about it. And I do have some pretty solid loadouts that I'm going to bring to the table. I'll probably bring a couple more that I don't. To be honest with you, I don't normally use a whole lot of loadouts. I think I have like 3 loadouts that I actually use, but I do have some builds that I've used in the past. And the one build for the DM10 that I was talking about earlier, I'll give you that build for Warzone and tell me if it changes your life. Because man,
Okay.
that gun is broken
Yeah,
right now.
definitely give that to me.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Well, for myself, up top. Oh, I didn't even tell you about the story of that. I'll save it for next week.
What?
That's fine. I forgot to tell you the story of how UpTop came to be. I didn't even get to tell that story. Wow, it's okay. I'll save it for next week. For myself, UpTop, of course, Moon, which you can follow her. By the way, share your socials. That's something you can do. What you got? Where can people follow you?
You can follow me on YouTube. I do Rust content. It's not COD, but I do have some Rust content, and that's on XO Moon XO. Or I'm sorry, scratch that out. XO Midnight Moon XO on YouTube.
All right.
Drop me a follow. I'd appreciate it.
We may have to talk about Rust at some point because I have no idea what that game is. Like, I've seen your videos and stuff, and I'm like, what is happening here?
I'm just a troll. That's all it is. I don't even play the game seriously. I just love making people rage.
I love it. That sounds like a Call of Duty thing, too. Of course, you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram. That'll be in the outro here. But we really want to thank you for your support. Episode 1, we went a little bit over. I think today the episodes may not be as long as this one. But it was good to get out here and get this done, and we're just so thankful for all of you that have listened, your friends of the show, for sharing.
Absolutely.
And we're looking forward to more great content as we continue along in this journey. Not just in Call of Duty, by the way. We're going to talk about other stuff. We'll talk about Rust, probably talk about Grand Theft Auto a little bit, talk a little bit about our favorite games. I know Metal Gear Solid is a game that we both really love. We'll probably talk about that closer to when Snake Eater gets released this year. Can't wait for that game. And we'll talk about some other stuff. So it's not just all COD. It'll be a lot of COD, but we'll talk about some other stuff as well throughout our journey here with Callouts with Moon and UpTop. Thank you all so much for listening. We'll see you next week. Main Madness starts next week. Make sure you're tuning in, and we'll talk to you on the other side. Have a great rest of your week, everybody.